Marita.
Okay, perfect.
I know. I was just telling people, I'm like, I might have to go out and come back in really quick, but no, here she is. Ta-da! For those of you who don't know, this is Marita. Um,
Hi.
I'm Deb. Nice to meet you, by the way. And I started Queerstrology some years ago. It's to take the gender binary out of astrology was my main goal. But now I like teach it and do readings and read celebrities and reality stars and stuff like that. So um, I kind of like to explain to people what I'm looking at when I'm looking at your chart first, so you can kind of understand what I'm saying. So it's not just like a total alien language the whole time,
I would
right?
love that. Yes.
Okay. All right. So how we start out is this is a round chart, right? So a lot of people, when they look at these, are like, I don't know what's happening. No, I don't know what's going on. Well, that's easy to understand because there is a lot of info here, right? See
Right.
how around this edge there's all 12 signs? That's because all of us have all 12 signs in our chart. It's just where they happen to land, right?
Okay.
So they're the personality of your birth chart, like what we think about when we talk about different signs, right?
Yes.
Now, in the middle here, you can see numbered 1 through 12. I know it's really small. When I'm reading your actual chart, I'll pull it up in parts so we can see it better. But right here, you can see numbered 1 through 12 are the houses. And they have these little pie stripes that go out, you see?
Mm-hmm.
Though that's a part of your life. So it's representing like a section of your life or a growth point of your life, if you will. Then all these little glyphs, those are the planets, and sometimes they can be other things like the luminaries or asteroids, all sorts of stuff. There's 20,000 that can be turned on, but we just turn on these, okay? Let's not go that far. And then these
Wow.
crazy lines, which we probably won't talk about today just for time's sake. But if you want to know more about it, I'll tell you, we can just talk about it and I'll give you what you need. But these are called aspects right here, these lines. And what they do is show us how two different parts of you get along with each other. So inside of your own birth chart, this is a snapshot of the sky at the moment that you were born. That's what it is. So that's why it tells us about you and who you are and things like that, right? So when I switch to this, just to show you, so you can see without the aspects for a second. And this right here, which is where we're going to start right here, is
Okay.
always where you start to read anyone's chart. Okay? So the reason why is because right here, see where it says ASC on your chart? You'll
Yes.
see that you follow that line and there's the first house. All right? So this is your ascendant or your rising sign, right? And for you, it's Cancer. But why? Where'd it
Oh my
come from?
gosh.
Right?
That's
Well,
so exciting.
yeah, well, where it comes from is these 12 signs, they're constellations in the sky. So we have 88 constellations. Imagine just standing outside looking up and you see all the stars, right? And there's 88 different kinds of constellations hanging around. But these are the ones that are along that path, a particular path in the sky that the
Yeah.
planets go across. So the planets have that same path. So they're within, a certain degree of each other, but that's where they all go. So these are the backdrop to where the planets are. That's why these are the 12 zodiac sign or zodiac constellations that we use. So, they move every 2 hours. So this does a complete rotation in 24 hours during the day. So you happen to be born, and this was the constellation rising in the east at that moment that you were born. So that's why you are Cancer rising. Now, that being said,
Oh.
right, Cancer, we know Cancer can be like, they're kind of the nurturer, right? Deep emotional capacity. And so when it is your rising sign, it indicates your first impression to people and also how you first approach things. Now, you're already a water sign. In fact, let me just cover your big three really quick so people on here can know. But
Okay.
you're a Pisces sun, okay? And you are a Virgo moon, which, yes, you were born on a full moon. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. When they're an
Okay.
opposite like that. And there's quite a few people in the cast that were born on full moons. It's very interesting. But so that's kind of weird. And then you're a Cancer rising. So when somebody asks you what your big three are, you're a Pisces sun, right? A Virgo moon and a Cancer rising. So now you know which three to tell them. Okay. So now
Okay.
we have to
Yeah.
consider the first house. All right. The first house is the house of self understanding, right? So
Mhm.
that's why this is your first impression. It's like before people get to know you, then they get to have more of the intuitive, dreamy part, right? They still get to see you as a nurturer, but until they get to know you a little better, they're not gonna do the dreamy part yet, right? They don't get to see that part.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you have Cancer as your ascendant, or whoever, whatever your ascendant sign is, folks in general, right? That is your chart ruler. What that means is a lot of people associate it, like, since you're a Pisces sun, you might say, "Oh, I'm ruled by Neptune." Actually, no, you are ruled by the moon, because the moon rules Cancer. So whatever planet or luminary that rules that sign is your planet ruler. So you're ruled by the moon, and you were born on a full moon, right?
Oh
There's a
my
lot
God.
of emotion involved, if you will. Water signs, their baseline energy is emotion. All right. And the three water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces,
Yeah.
right? So if you have a lot of different emotion in there, and we're going to get into like the romantic part, it's coming up rather fast, actually.
Okay.
But because we know Marita's a hopeless romantic, right? I felt like I was supposed to bring you flowers today just to give to you virtually through the screen here.
That would be
Just because, like,
fantastic.
it's not that hard. You can do that, you know?
I know there's a way to like gift flowers through this.
Oh, totally. Like, if
It's
next time you're live and I go into your live, I'll give you a bunch of flowers for sure. I'll come in and
perfect.
drop some. Hopefully that makes up for it. But what's interesting here is that you can see how this first, having Cancer rule the first house, means that you're a nurturing person, right? And nurturing to yourself as well. You want to nurture yourself into the next step, into the next progression of whatever. Now your astrology chart doesn't mean you're in the first house, then you're in the second house, then you're, that's not, it's more like a sounding board, where you could be in
Okay.
like the 11th house of something and the first house of something you just discovered, right? So it's more like a sounding board. It's just not linear, like you just go through it and that's it. Then you, once you get to your 12th house, you die. No, that's not how it works.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
well,
But
that's
people have
good.
literally thought that. It's like, okay, so I go around and then this is what happens at the end. No, no. This is just about understanding. All right.
Okay.
Astrology never tells you you have to do something, you can't do something, you should do something. It's about getting some validation for things that you feel within you, because this is literally you, right? And also to help you put your intentions in the right spot. So if you like hear something that you're like, "Oh, that might be why that's happening." Now you know where to put your intentions to help make that better for yourself. That's my goal anyway, is when I'm reading folks' chart, to help them understand themselves better so that they can progress forward and grow and expand, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that being said, and I gotta double check, this one's so close that I want to make sure. Um, the second house is rule. Okay. So your second house, how we know which sign rules it, like we know Cancer rules the first house, right? So there's signs that can be in the houses and signs that can rule the house, which means they are the ones that they're the main personality put into that part of your life. All right.
Okay.
So how you figure that out is the lead line. Just like this line goes into Cancer, the lead line of the second house hits Leo. Barely, but it hits Leo. So
Right.
Leo rules your second house of value, possession, security, things like that. Now, Leos are known for being egotistical because they're ruled by the sun, and the sun is literally your ego in astrology. But it's not that. Now, their ego can get hurt. If you hurt their ego, they'll forgive you, but they will never forget it happened. Okay.
Right.
You only had one Leo on the show to give as an example here, and that would be Kyle, which Kyle was kind of quiet for the most part in the show, so we didn't get to see a lot of that. But where that egotism tends to be seen and mislabeled is in their need for adoration, right? So you want to be actually noticed for being smart about grabbing something that is a really great possession that you'll have for the rest of your life, right? And you're
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
"Look what I got. Can you believe I did it?" Or you want somebody to notice that you put in the work to do it, not just like, "Oh, cool, you got that." They're like, "I can't believe you did X, Y, and Z to do that. That's
Mhm.
crazy." And like be be admired, get some adoration for actually doing something good, not just because, right? That's how they associate Leos a lot, is just because I'm not going to give you adoration, right? But they need that. They strive for it.
Right.
So because it rules your second house of value, that's what you're going to look for. And you also will value creativity and pleasure in the things that you find value in, right? That's the big thing
Hell
for
yeah.
you. If it's not creative or it doesn't give you pleasure, you're kind of like, eh. I mean, it might be valuable to some people, but it's not my thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then we can see that Leo is also, if we go like that, also the ruler of your third house. The third house is the house of communication, basically. So how you think and how you speak. So now, how you think and speak, you want to be noticed for what you're saying and the points that you're making. You want to be a little bit, just notice that I understood what you were saying, and
Okay.
that I can talk with you about that. Ha, you know, and then be like, whoa, how'd you know that? That's kind of the cool thing you like to happen, right? They
Yeah.
mistake you for not knowing what's going on, and then you surprise them. That's a
Like,
that's a nice thing to have,
smart.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And now how I told you, like, that's the ruler, but Virgo is in this house, okay? So its energy is coming into this house. It even rules, or it takes up more space, right? But it's still not the ruler. So your main goal in your communication is having adoration. So when you go to communicate, you want it to be creative and fun so that people will be like, I love talking to Marita. It's so nice, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then when you go to the Virgo section here, right? Virgo being starting in this house, Virgo are known for their perfectionism, if you will,
Yeah.
and wanting things to be like, they want the details, right? They want to check things off the list, that sort of thing. So when
Mhm.
it comes to how you communicate, you have a bit of that with you. You're like, okay, well, let me check the spelling. Let me make sure this is going on. Those little things that you're like, it's important that even though it's fun and creative, I want to make sure this is done right. Okay.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have a placement there, which is your Virgo moon. Okay. So your moon being in your communication area suggests that you are emotionally attached to your communication. So if somebody doesn't react well to how you communicate, it can affect how you feel.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you can kind of say that for everybody, but specifically if with a Virgo moon in the third house, it has to do with how you think and communicate. And as the fact that your moon is in Virgo, you're already hard enough on yourself when it comes to how you're feeling. You're like, oh, am I being too sappy? Is this like, and you know what I mean? Because Virgos are like, I'm put together, I am detailed, but that's not part of your personality necessarily,
Yeah.
right? So that's why your moon is in there. It softens the Virgo a little bit, but it still is like, hey, I need to know the details, because the more I know the details, the more I know like how somebody's going to read this or interpret this, the better I can feel about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the reason why you would do that. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to your fourth house, and we'll move over a little bit here. So here's your fourth house. You can see there's that moon in Virgo.
Yeah.
So here we go to the fourth house, which is your house of home and domestic life. Okay. Sorry if I'm missing questions or anything, but Marita, if you see something that you want to answer, just, like let me know. Because I'll
Yeah,
just,
no, you're good.
yeah, right. um, so here in the fourth house, which is your domestic life, because it's your house of home. All right. So at home, you like things to be in their place, right? You want them to be in certain places. Now, that being said, and any Virgos that are in here in general or have higher Virgo placements, you all know you got that messy spot in your house. I know it, okay? And that's how Virgos are. They're like so detailed where they want you to see it, but like in their closet or something, there is stuff all over the place. But you still know where everything is, which is kind of weird. Um, but that's the energy that Virgo gives to that fourth house. You want to be in control of what's going on. You want to be in control of the details, right?
Yeah.
Things need to make sense. You don't want it to be just there because it's there. You want it to make sense, right? Now,
Yeah.
that being said, you're also down for some balance, right? Because Libra is the sign of balance. So it wants to be fair and just, and that's where their indecision comes in, right? Because the indecision, when it comes to your home life and wanting to be fair, sometimes you go too far. You're allowing too much, right?
Okay.
Because you're like, I want to be fair. So fine, if you've heard both sides, you can still make a decision. You don't have to be like, but what about that side? Well, and that can make you go back and forth.
Mhm.
And it's hard to make a decision about like what color couch to get at home because of a pet or whatever it might be, when you want to be as fair as possible and hear everything and weigh it out. And then you're like, all right, that's cool to bring into my home or my domestic life, right? It brings me balance or
Yeah.
fairness.
I was literally at Target, or I don't even know where I was yet, TJ Maxx, looking at
Mm.
all of the pillows for probably an hour, thinking about how I wanted my bed to look. Because I
Yeah.
just moved into an all new house and like a new room and everything. And it's just like a cleanse of energy. And I was like, okay, let's pick a color, but I can't pick. Like, I can't pick my vibes. So I was just like,
It's
all
probably
right.
your favorite part. Like you probably hate moving, but your favorite part is like getting into a new fresh space that you get to right?
And decorating.
But
Yes.
but
Yes.
you struggle with it because you want it to be a certain kind of way. You may struggle with like, just do boards. Literally get into Pinterest if you don't have that on your phone, but get it in there and just start, because that'll help you kind of like pick a theme for yourself, which might
Okay.
help you in the decision making, right? Or maybe you don't have a theme. Maybe that's your theme, is not to have a theme,
That's kind of the thing. Like that's how I
you
did
know?
my house in St. Pete. I kind of just rolled with the punches of this like grandma floral vibe and then just went
Yeah.
through a bunch of different colors and got weird with it. And that's kind of the same vibe I'm doing here. So
I mean, that's cool. That makes sense. I mean, it's whatever you feel like and what helps you feel comfortable at home and what
yeah.
you need. So that could also be the Libra part too. Is like, I don't want to just pick one and then leave the other. Like, what if I want this cool modern looking thing? Now I can't have that because I
Yeah.
everything else is not like that. That's silly. This
Yeah.
is your thinking, I'm saying. So yeah, pretty interesting there. Now let's scoot over a little more even. So here is the fifth house. Okay. So the fifth house is your house of creativity and pleasure. All right. So here we can see the lead line hits Libra. So again, we're looking for balance in your creativity and pleasure, which also bleeds into you decorating, things like that, right?
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
home. But also, like in general, when you are or when you want to be creative, you want to make sure everything's even, like you're not stepping on anybody's toes, you didn't take somebody's time spot, you didn't, like, you know what I mean? You want it to be like, I want to be up on stage or whatever happens to be when I want to be or when I'm supposed to be, when's the best time for me to be up there, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that by hurting anybody else. That's
No.
literally what it indicates. And in fact, you can see you have Scorpio that's completely inside of this house. It doesn't rule any houses, and that's what we call an intercepted sign. It just means that it doesn't rule any houses. It still has its energy, okay? But it's not ruling any specific part of your life. However, it is giving all of its energy to the fifth house of creativity and pleasure. Now,
Interesting.
Scorpios are another water sign, right? Now, I
Okay.
could say that you don't have any placements in Scorpio, but again, there's more than 20,000, right? And I know for a fact that your Chiron, which is your childhood wounds, it's an asteroid. You do have that in Scorpio, okay? But even that, and I'll go at the end, I'll give you some
An
different ones, like
asteroid.
some not common ones, but your childhood wounds, and I'll explain what that means to you after as well.
Okay.
But what's really interesting about it is this is the passion emotion sign, the investigator, the truth seeker, right? So when it comes to what you're creating, if it's not honest, and if it's not coming from you as a person in some way, like you're not connected to it, it's you're not going to be as into it. Like, and it's going to kind of show. Like, you want to be able to really like dig your teeth into something and know it's real. That's what that says. Scorpio, their energy is like, it's not the I trust you until you lie. It's like, I don't believe you until you've given me 45 reasons why I should. You know, so when it comes to your creativity, you really want, it's hard for you to trust people, so you just need them to be honest with you, and then you need to be honest with yourself whether or not you're connecting with whatever it is that you're doing in your creativity and pleasure. Are you actually getting pleasure from it? You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes I don't know this, I don't know too much about, we only see like a millionth of your life on that show, but like something about like feeling like you've had to do certain things creatively why can't I say that, creative wise, that you sometimes felt like people have tried to not scam you but like push you in the direction that you didn't feel was your direction. So I don't know what that's about, but if that resonates for you, good, cool. So here's the sixth house now, okay? And the sixth house we can see is ruled by Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius, it is the sign of experience, travel, the know it all sign, if you will, right? Because they don't talk about things they don't know about, because that's what they want. They want to learn directly from experience, right? They want to be
Okay.
more educated, experience different philosophies, different spirituality, even, right? Now, the placement you have here is Pluto. This house is your acts of service. So, your daily routines and acts of service. So, what this indicates to me is that the more things that you do on a daily basis over and over again, the more experience you gain from that, and then jump a level. You can jump a level to where like maybe you stop having to do a couple of those things a day, because now through your experience and like doing this stuff all the time, you're like, I don't need to do that anymore, I can just jump right to this.
Yeah.
Because Sagittarius wants to learn the best way to do things, right? The most and have hands-on experience with it. They actually want to feel it.
Yeah.
And the planet Pluto, like I said, is here. Now, when I did all of your charts, I did not turn on the generational planets because most of you have them in the same spots, right? So,
Okay.
because you're all within a fairly close age range. But, but for you, in this reading, we have the generational planets on. Pluto is one of them, okay? And why they're called generational planets is this is 30 degrees each sign. It takes more than 20 years for Pluto to move through that. All right. So people who are within your age range, they're also going to have Pluto in Sagittarius. The difference is you all have them in one of the 12 signs. So not everybody has it in their sixth house of routines, right? Someone might have it in their third house or their ninth house. So for your generation, right, you all are using experience to help transform, because Pluto is the planet of transformation, right? So your
Wow.
generation is using experience to transform the world, all right? And your particular role in it is through your daily routines and your acts of service, how you act with people on a daily basis, the routines that you have, things like that. All
Aw.
right.
I love that.
So, yeah, that's I also did this thing about how we should name, instead of like Gen Alpha and all that, we should just have our names according to Pluto. So, because it's every 20 years, that's the generation you were in. But you know, whatever. Maybe they'll catch up at some point. Now we're getting to where you have a lot of placements. Okay, so there's going to be a couple of things I'm
Oh
going to have to
my
explain in
gosh.
between. But here is the seventh house. Okay, so the seventh house is the house of your connections, relationships. Okay, so it happens to be ruled by Capricorn. Now,
Hmm.
Capricorn is the efficient and effective sign, right? They are the CEO of the zodiac, for lack of a better term, right? I'm a Capricorn sun. I was 30 years old when I was 5. Okay, that's their kind of energy. But we get
Okay.
better as we get older. We grow, we age backwards. Like we start to realize everything doesn't have to be so serious and structured all the time, and we start to relax a little. But
Okay.
for for you having this ruling your seventh house of relationships. Now, this is long-term relationships, not just romantic, but also like family, friends, coworkers, that sort of thing as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
You want to be a part of a power couple, straight up. You want to
Period.
be in a power couple because it, and not step on each other's toes, right? So you're in different lanes and you're both have your own powers, individual powers. You're individuals that are powerful by yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're together, then you accentuate that in each other. That would be ideal for you, okay? And
Hmm.
that's what you're going to look for. But you also like relationships to be more efficient. You want them to be like effective. Like there's something happen. If you're giving, you want them to give back, right? You're not going to like because you're a Pisces sun, you're going to be very giving. You're Cancer rising. That's very giving as well.
Yeah.
Capricorn is structure, okay? Earth and structure, and it's like, do we really want these people? Do we want to be in a relationship with these people if they're not giving anything towards our goal in life, basically? Because if they're not helping us, then they're hurting us. Psst, get out of here, that
Yeah.
kind of deal. And it's not like you're going to say that to them directly, but that's how you may feel. And again, it's not just romance; it's any kind of long-term relationships situation. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we come up to your first stellium. What the heck is a stellium? Right?
I
It's
don't
when you
know.
have, it's a chart pattern. So it shows us right here. You see how you have these three and they're all in the same house right here? That is a stellium. So it's 3 points in the same house or in the same sign, which this one is both. Okay. So when we have a stellium, what it means is that we're bringing a lot more focus to that part of your chart because there's three right pretty close together, right? So all of their energies are kind of intertwined a little bit. So when that happens, if it's a house stellium, like for you, this is the eighth house. This is the eighth house is the house of power, transformation, rebirth. Okay. And and
Ooh.
Aquarius is the alien of the group, okay, of the zodiac. They're different. They don't do anything typically, and they're very altruistic in how they think, okay? So they're always looking at how to help the world more than just themselves. So when that happens, and when you look at this, right, we have the two other generational planets. One is Neptune, which is Pisces ruler, okay? And this is Uranus up here, okay? Now this is Venus. So we'll talk about that last out of these because I want to just talk about these first. When you have, or what it means also. So when you have 3 points in the same house, you're going to give more energy to whatever that house means, like transformation in this case, right? But since it does happen to be both, and if it's three in a sign, it's also more energy towards your altruistic, atypical lifestyle, right?
Okay.
So you look at this, Neptune is the planet of intuition and dreams. So it's in your house of power
Of
and
course
rebirth.
it is.
Exactly, right? So and it's because it's in Aquarius, it means you don't do dreams and intuition the typical way that other people do. Like how they
Ooh.
expect you to do it, right? You have your own kind of tell of when somebody is being, and usually has to do with their structure. You can see crumbling within their structure, and it starts to tell you something before a lot of people can't. You know what I mean? It's like part of inside. It's part. All of us have some intuition within us. It's how you see it, and then how you accept it. Because it's
Yeah.
hard to accept it sometimes. You're like, what? I don't what does a chocolate chip cookie and the letter A have to do with anything that you just magically got into your brain, right? But there's a reason for it. And the more you learn how to trust it and just kind of throw it out there, how are you going to know? But for you, it happens to be through transformation that your intuition is very peaked. So as people, if they try to step over you or onto you, you will definitely know it. And you are going
Oh
to poke them with
yeah.
that one of those little spikes right there. All right. Try to
Okay, I
step on
like
me again.
that.
You want to have some? All right. And then we also have Uranus, which is this one, okay? Uranus is the planet of change and rebellion, right? And it's under its native here. So it rules Aquarius. So when it comes to you stepping into your power as a person, and I'm going to talk about Venus in a second, but in general, with these two generational planets, this means like your generation wants to be very unique. We want to have different kinds of dreams and we want to have a rebellion of of the old, right? We want to change things for the better and do some changes. I
Yeah.
mean, hello, right? And so your particular area is stepping into your power, transforming yourself into what you need to be in order to help with that transformation, if that makes sense. Now,
Okay.
Venus is here. I know it's so much info, so I'm sorry. Venus, right here, right? That is the planet of love. It's your bottom energy, as I like to call it, because it's your surrendering energy. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about in the bedroom, but it could be that as well. But what it indicates, it indicates is you're very unique. So, in order for you to surrender and to be vulnerable with somebody, they need to be a little kooky, a little crazy, like a little something, because we're all a little bit crazy, and you want your crazies to match with the other person's crazy. You know what I mean? You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So in
Yeah.
order for you to be able to surrender to somebody else, they need to show that that they're altruistic. They care about other people.
Oh,
They
yeah.
care about the rebirth and transformation of the world. Those things, when they seem to care about that, will speak to you in a way where you can, oh, that's so nice. Now I don't have to worry about it as much. I don't have so much weight on my shoulders. That's what that can indicate for you. And so when
Okay.
you get that, that helps you relax and get a little bit. That's why it's good for you in relationships as well. Venus has to do with love. Okay. So that being said, Aquarius also rules your ninth house, which is right here. Okay. So your ninth house is your house of experience, travel, higher education, philosophies, and your spirituality. All right. And
Okay.
having it ruled by Aquarius is, again, not typical. So it could be that you were raised, again, I don't know too much, so if it resonates with you, but it could be that you were raised in a little bit of a harsh, or not harsh, but like uh, when it came to religion, there was something around there, and it might not even be your parents, but like your grandparents or friends or something, where there was a lot of religion and religious stuff that was going on. And you're like, I don't want to just do that because, like, I'm not just going to follow that because. And that's because you have Aquarius ruling it, which is a bit of a rebellious spirit, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you're activated by learning and philosophies, but you want to find the differences. You don't want just what everybody reads about it. You want to know the good stuff. You want to get in there, right?
Yeah.
Um, and in fact, when you do that, now we're coming into Pisces right here. You can see. So even though it doesn't rule that house, you have this placement, one other placement here, and it's Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is your planet of expansion, right? Luck and all of that sort of thing. So it's in this house of experience and how you're getting those interesting experiences. Now it's under Pisces. So what it's indicating is the more you can use your intuition and the more you dream about what you want out of life, like the kind of experiences you want to have, the more you expand as a person. So the better chance you'll have of achieving those things. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's obviously you have a Pisces stellium as well. So now this one's interesting because it's in Pisces, but it's between two houses. So that means most of the energy is going towards Pisces, not the energy of the house necessarily. Okay? So
Okay.
Pisces, again, as your sun sign, which we see right here, but is something that's a big part of your chart. It also has a stellium. It's your expansion that we were just talking about here. And now MC is actually this tick mark right here. It's on the very cusp of the 10th
Yeah, I
house.
see that.
That's where it always sits, okay? Just like your ascendant is always in the cusp of the first house. MC stands for medium coli, which is Latin for top of the sky, but we also call it your midhaven, okay? But it's your point of ambition because the 10th house is your house of ambitions, achievements, and goals, right? So your MC suggests that your intuition and what you do as a career is not like something super structured. It's more intuitive, gut feeling, following your dreams. That's what it's literally telling you to do because in the past, it's been so structured for you in your past lives, I'm saying, or in
Yeah,
the past life
right.
before this. You learned by having to be very structured. in order to achieve things. But this
Mhm.
time around, that's your base. So you have that information in there. You already have the structure. So now you get to have fun, right? You get to chase your dreams and you get to go after those things. Now
Hell yeah.
you have your sun here as well, but Pisces basically is ruling your 10th house of achievements. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what the MC basically indicates anyway. Now you also have your sun here. The sun is your true self, your ego. All right. This is how I said like people now get to see the fun parts of you more once they get to this point. Okay, of getting to know you. When they first get to know you, you're nurturing, sweet, whatever, but they don't get to see kind of the more fun, crazy, fun stuff, until they get
Yeah.
to know you a little bit. So you can trust them with bringing them into the things that you dream about, literally. Then they stay
Literally.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, let's actually move over a little bit so we can see the 10th house a little better. So here's your sun, your ego, and having it in Pisces does indicate that you are, what do they call? Usually, it's like flittery, floaty. Like Pisces are very ethereal. They're the oldest and wisest of the zodiac signs, right?
Yeah, we are.
So that's why they're about the intuition, because now they've experienced all the other things and now they just want things to intuitively happen. So your intuition will lead you in the direction of your achievements and your goals because it's in your 10th house. Now that being said, you have a 10th house stellium as well. So here in the 10th house, you have a Pisces sun. Okay. We don't count the MC for house ones because it's always in the 10th house. All right. So you have the sun in Pisces, but then you have these three placements, which are in Aries. Okay. So you have a 10th house. So your ambitions, there's lots of stuff going on there, right? Besides your ego, your intuitive ego, we also have in Aries, and you have an Aries stellium as well. Woo! So like you have 5 stelliums total in your chart, which is quite a bit, but it is fairly common to have them like in the same house in the same sign when they happen, but not all the time. In this case, you
Okay.
have all of the kinds. So um, this one is again 10th house, which means a lot of focus on your career and the things that you want to achieve. But because you have 3 placements in Aries as well, there's also lots of concentration in Aries. Now they're the youngest of the zodiac signs. They have youthful energy, quick action, quick thoughts, that sort of thing, right? So what this is going to bring to what you want to do within your career and your achievements, what it's going to bring to you is the need for speed. So when it comes to like something that comes across that might be an opportunity for you, you're going for it. You're going to try it. Because if you don't, then you'll be like, why didn't I try it? I should have tried it. Now I don't know. I would have known if it didn't work, if I tried it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
That's Aries energy. They're like, well, let's just try it and see. Okay. So the first placement that you have there is actually the ruler of Aries, which is Mars. And Mars is your top energy or what you like to be in control of. All right. And for you, it's what your goals are, what your achievements are, your career path, things like that. No, I don't want to hear it from you. I know what I'm doing. Get out of my way. Just stay out. If you're not jumping,
Oh.
if you're not jumping on the bandwagon here behind me, get out of my way. Coming through, right? That's Aries energy. They're like, I want to be first. I want to be the best, and let's go do that. And the way we're going to do that is filing through as many things as we can, right?
Yeah.
So then on top of that, you have Mercury here, which is right next to it. You can see, and Mercury is your planet of communication. So having it in Aries and in your house of career, so to speak, it does indicate that you are a fast talker, right? Quick witted in some cases, but also that when it comes to being able to communicate for work purposes, you just want to get fast. You want to get it done. You want to
Yeah.
get to the point. You don't want to. I mean, you can communicate with them, but you're like, let's get to the point of it, right? Like we don't
Yeah.
need to be going back and forth 40 times. Let's get to the end of it.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the energy that Aries brings to Mercury there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have Saturn here as well. So a couple of things to talk about with Saturn. Saturn is the other social planet compared to Jupiter, okay? Jupiter's expansion, Saturn is restriction, but also growth, okay? So or well, results, I should say, not growth. That's more something else. But Saturn being in Aries right now, by the way, means you have just started your Saturn return. Okay, now I'll explain to you what that is in a moment. But right now, it did retrograde back into Pisces for a moment, right? But you're still going to feel some of that, and then it's going to be in Aries for the total of 2.5 years. Wholeness.
Oh my
So
God, I'm getting chills.
now, what's interesting is a lot of people on the cast, like I said, you all are kind of similar ages, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of you have Saturn in Aries. And for those of you that do, you're going through your Saturn return after filming. Now, a bunch of people had it in Pisces, which means they were literally going through your Saturn return while you were filming. And only two folks, Haley and Kyle, had completely gone through their Saturn return before this show started. All right.
Okay.
What is this? What is the Saturn return, right? Well, Saturn, being the planet of restriction and results, it wants to get results, right? That's what it's looking for. This is its native house here. So it likes to do the work. But when it comes to your Saturn return, you're going to be very good at getting rid of people that aren't helping you with your success. So Saturn, it takes 2.5 years for it to go 30 degrees. Okay. So
Oh,
when a planet returns, it's when it comes back to the same area it was in your birth chart. So 28 years or so is when you start your Saturn return because it's come all the way back around and come back into the sign that it was in when you were born. So that's what a Saturn return. You celebrate your solar return every year on your birthday because your sun has come back to that spot in the zodiac. So that's what that indicates. Now, what it means for you is
yeah.
Saturn return is kind of the big pant time. It's time to put on the big pants. Okay. Like we have phases where we become an adult, but Saturn return is kind of because you can have more than one. You can have, up to three Saturn returns every 28-ish years or so. And what that
Yeah.
does is help get rid of things in your life that are no longer serving you. So that's why it bothers people, and people feel sometimes it's like, oh, it's like it can be traumatic and all this stuff. I mean, it can be, but at the same time, it's for a reason. There's a goal behind it.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to uh in this case for Saturn return again, it's quick action because it's an Aries, right? So you're gonna be pretty quick to be like, okay, let me look, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. Now, some of the things you aren't going to get to decide, the universe is going to do that for you.
Right.
And so those are the things you can't control, but yeah. Hold on, I gotta make sure. Oh yeah, good. Okay. I thought somebody was being crazy for a second. They're not. They're being nice. All right. I'm like, I don't make me block you folks. Be nice. All right. So
Everyone's being
now,
sweet.
yeah, they're being very good. I appreciate it. My audience usually is pretty good, for the most part, because they know they'll get kicked out if they're not. And they're
Is
they're
this
just not that.
also
That's not.
pulling, is this also pulling from my audience or just yours?
I think if you just came in here, it's going to be just me because it doesn't say
Okay.
you're live necessarily. Hey, welcome to the team, which is okay. That's all right. Honestly, I'll be reposting this onto YouTube, like the full reading, so
Yeah.
folks who missed it or your fans or whatever, and I'll send you the link to that so you can put it out if you want. And
Oh,
I'll also have the link to it on my link tree. That'll be up there as well. Okay. Now that'll be tomorrow, more than likely that it'll come up because it takes me a while to download an hour-ish or so video and then upload it. But all right. So for anybody who's waiting or looking for that, or you missed part of it and you want to go back, you'll be able to do that. All right. So now that we're done with the 10th house and all, I mean, that's a lot of stuff that just happened. All right. So now we're going to go here to the 11th house. And guess who rules the 11th house? Aries. So more Aries energy. All right.
hmm.
And this Aries energy is leading into your social house. So, what does that indicate? It means you're the person that's like, somebody wants to do something, they call you, you're like, hey, you want to go do this thing? You're like, I'm down, let's go.
Literally. That's exactly how I am.
That's how you are in social situations. Same thing of like if you're part of a social group that's trying to do something, especially if it's a competitive thing, you're like, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. Let's go. And you're like, we have to win. Now, what's interesting is in this social house, you also have Taurus, which is intercepted, like Scorpio was on the other side, right?
Yeah.
So because Taurus is in here, it's going to bring structure, value, and security to the things that you do socially. All right. Excuse me. Now that is interesting because if you think about it, I mean, you went on a reality show, right? And you have been somewhat a spotlight person most of your life in a way, whatever
Mm-hmm.
kind of degree you want to call that. So Taurus is actually about luxury, right? So they work hard and then they get to have their bubble bath and their snacks. That's their energy. So after you're like, yeah, let's go. Like you're the person they call and you're like, yeah, let's go. You might regret it later, but you're just going to take your bath and be fine with it. It's fine. You know? It's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't. I'm sore today. I gotta take a bubble bath or whatever it
Okay,
happens to
I
be,
feel
right?
that. Yeah.
You know? But you're like, but I was there. They asked me to come and I was there.
I made it
Definitely
happen.
FOMO is this placement. That's what this should be called, FOMO.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but now when we go over here, we're seeing that the 12th house, this is lead line as well, is ruled by Gemini. Okay? So
Mm-hmm.
the 12th house is Pisces house, native house. All right? So because it's ruled by Gemini for you, Gemini is expressive. Okay? They're expressive intelligence. And if you know any Geminis, you know they express themselves a lot. Okay. They're external communicators. They like to process things externally and that sort of thing, which is pretty interesting to have as the ruler for a house where it's about your head only. So it's about your intuitions and the things that you dream about. This is indicating that you're looking for the story behind it. You're trying to figure out intuitively what's the story that gets you to where you want to go.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's saying because there's duality to it. So sometimes it's like, yes, I want to tell you the story and maybe even exaggerate a little bit, right? And then there's the
Yeah.
other part of it that is like, I don't really want to talk about it. It just happens that wherever it hit, what the day is. That's a Gemini's duality, right? But it does say that you want to learn more about the story and you will use your intuition and dreams in order to do that. So that's what that's indicating.
Okay.
All right, so now that's your chart, but there's a couple other placements that I wanted to talk to you about, so I'll just throw it back up here. Um, so I went and looked up
So cool.
your your north node. Okay, so north node is one of the lunar nodes. There's a north node and a south node, and what they like literally are like in the sky is the path where the sun and the moon cross. Okay, so there's
Ooh.
always one in one spot and one exactly 180 degrees from it. Okay, so your north node actually is in Virgo. It's right here. So it's indicating by the fact that it's in Virgo, it's like you want a healthy destiny, okay, that's rooted that's rooted in the compassion and the intuitiveness of Pisces, because Pisces is your south node. All right, so that's
Yeah.
your roots, your former life where you've grown from, if you will. Okay. Now that being
Wow.
said, because it's in the third house, so it's in this third house. It's not on the screen. Okay, sorry, I don't have it up there. But it looks North Node looks like a horseshoe, an up like a horseshoe with like little holes on either side. So just so people know what it looks like. It being in the third house means that now you're going to be relying more on how you communicate based on what you used to be able to, or what you've experienced throughout all of your lives or any of your lives. You have a
Wow.
lot of placements up in this higher area here. And that usually indicates an older soul, mostly on this side though. But there, like you've been here a few times at least. I don't know, or somewhere in some dimension. But
That's
I feel
so
like that's the
cool.
case with most Pisces for some reason, because you guys just had that automatic, oldest and wisest of the zodiac feeling to you.
Yeah, for sure.
But that being said, how I said that you had a Chiron. Now, Chiron looks like a key kind of in your chart when you're looking at it. It's like a hole with like a K up to the side of it. and it's your childhood wounds. So it's what you need to work on healing in this lifetime. Okay.
Mhm.
And yours happens to be in Scorpio, like I was saying, in the fifth house. So your wounds probably have to do with attachment. All right. Amazing. And you're like amazing at helping others with loss that they've experienced. But you are not, you feel guilty about when you lose control of something. Like, does that make sense? So you're fine with like helping people lose, like, oh, it's okay, but then you don't want to lose control. You feel like you can't express yourself necessarily. There's some sort of blockage there from that. That other people, whoever, oh, that's weird. I just remembered the reunion, that part of that reunion. And I don't need to say it, but like the fact there was losses on both sides and how both were expressed shows that. It literally shows it because you were like, what the, like I can't express to you because I'm trying to say, look, look at, I can help you with that, but you're not even responding to something I need. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? That
Yeah.
definitely is suggested there. And another thing, or where that comes from, and this is so funny because Bridget and Kyle's is not in the same sign, but in the same house, which is the fifth house. And
Mhm.
what that indicates is you were told you can't do that when you were a kid. Don't do that. You can't do that, which it probably wasn't true. It was probably somebody else using some sort of, somebody using their authority over you to be like, no, you can't do that because they couldn't do it when they were a kid or something along those lines. That's usually what it indicates because it's a
Yeah.
family kind of trauma thing. And I'm sorry, I don't want to like get too in deep or anything like that. Or I don't want to make you cry or anything. A lot of water sign placements, okay? So I'm trying to be careful. It's okay
Proceed
if you
with
do too, by the
caution.
way. By the way, if you want to cry, it's also okay. I don't mean to say that it wouldn't be okay if you did. Now, I did look up one other one out of curiosity. Okay.
Okay.
And this one is Juno. And Juno is actually an asteroid as well. Okay. But it is the asteroid for very long term love affairs and what you need and what kind of relationships and things like that. Your
Ooh.
Juno is in Libra. So it's also at a critical degree. Now, I don't usually talk a lot about degrees in astrology, but I told you that each of these signs is 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, your Juno literally hits on 0 degree, which is the first degree of a sign, in this case, Libra. Okay. And so what that indicates is that you are, it's like a renewal. You're always trying to renew your love. Like you constantly want to make it new again, right? That's where some of
Yeah.
that hopeless romantic feeling can come in because in Libra, and it's in the fourth house of home as well, right? So, what it indicates to me is that um, in relationships, you're looking for balance in your relationships, right?
Right.
You need a certain kind of aesthetic in your relationships. Um, in conflict, you're kind of like, is this fair? Um, at your worst, it's indecision for you. And at your best, it's about resolution, fair
Yeah.
resolution. The fact that, and I don't know why that's weird, that it's in your fifth house indicates that you're seeking power. So you're attracted to playful, romantic, and generous people, right? Now, I don't have your chart with either partner up here from the show. But when I tell you that you and Brittany were the most compatible two out of any single couple in the entire show,
I
it's
love that.
hysterical.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and it just goes to show you that they're soul packs in general. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So your soulmates don't have to be somebody you're in a romantic relationship with. We have a soul pack, and a lot of us are regrouped together in some ways. We always end up finding each other somehow. Seems like. But yeah, you guys have so many aspects, which are those crazy lines going. Like I have to take 2 pages for you two to write it down. Did you see that? It's like so long, your list.
I did.
And all
Yeah.
those are
That's
just interactions between the two of you, and most of them are extremely positive. So yeah, you basically had the most compatible chart in the show. So that's pretty cool.
I love that because it's
Uh,
true.
yes. And I don't know if you're dating anybody right now, and you don't have to tell us here, okay? But I feel Aquarius for you. I need you to start looking more at Aquarius. Stay away from Earth signs, okay?
Okay. Okay.
They're too structured. They're too. Why do I need to get you flowers? They die.
That sounds
Okay.
pretty familiar.
Listen, I'm a Capricorn, so I kind of feel the same way, like about flowers. But as for giving them, I'm not just going to go to a grocery store as an example to get flowers. Sorry, I'm not trying to be.
That's okay. If it's
I'm not
not
trying to
yours,
be.
it's
I'm
not yours.
being, but I'm being serious. Like if I'm gonna do it, if I'm getting somebody flowers for like as a gesture, it's got to be cool. Like it's got to be cool in some way. Like you can go to the grocery store, but you're gonna get a couple different ones, and then you're gonna make your own arrangement, and then it works. But you can't just go buy and then give them to it in the plastic like that. Come on, you know. And that's
Yeah.
what you're trying to say. That's what you're trying to say. You're like, it's not that hard. For some people, it is because it goes against their mind's reality of being able to be like, there's no point in this. I don't understand why this person needs this. It's nothing. It's just gonna die.
But I would say it's more than the flower itself. And like I've realized that because of the symbolism with the fork that Brittany gave me. It's not necessarily the thing that is given to you, it's the thought
Mm-hmm.
behind it. And it's the person like considering you in
Mm-hmm.
any given moment. And like
Right.
that's more important than the flowers to me.
And it is. And but that's for you. Do you see what I mean? And if that person can't jump over that hump to be able to see that besides the fact they might not understand why, right? That it's something you want. And if they can't help or they can't jump over that little speed bump, then they're not the right person for you, right? You shouldn't have to do that. In fact, I think that this show was really good for you in a lot of ways, was to see how Brittany treated you, right? And
Yeah.
how it is possible, even though there wasn't really there wasn't like a gigantic romantic kind of situation there, but she still was you were still a very romantic couple,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So like
Absolutely.
that's what I'm saying about like it's just a matter. Look, we all have something we're crazy about. We have our crazies, all right. It's whether or not they mix. So and some people are just better at being friends than than not. That's just how it happens sometimes. And sometimes, especially in a minority loving kind of world, meaning you love somebody who's not cis or not heteronormative in any way or something along those
Yeah.
lines, then you already know you have a struggle, right? And we have a smaller pool this is what our head does, you have a smaller pool to choose from.
To pull
And well, if you have
from.
any chemistry at all, it's like, oh, we should date. Not necessarily, okay?
Not
All
necessarily.
right.
So tell me, talk a little bit more about the Aquarius.
I just got like before we even did the reading, I was thinking about it and I was like, an Aquarius would be so good for Marita. And I don't know if that's just because it came out of something, but because they're so, you do have a stellium in Aquarius, but the thing is that, and you have a Venus there, which means that somebody who is an Aquarius sun would have that extra energy that you're looking for in order to surrender, in order to feel like you don't have to tell somebody what you need from them constantly in a relationship.
Yeah.
And because their thought process is always thinking about everyone else, right? That's their kind of thing. Then they kind of automatically do that. Now, obviously, your connections and compatibility in general are more than just your sun signs. And I see people raising their hand in the comments right now. Aquarians raising their hand. I see them. They're like, over here. um,
Over
so,
here. Pick me.
uh,
Choose me.
yeah, now we just need to do a different reality show where we put you on and do like a uh,
Just
where you're the
Aquarius.
contestant and we find three Aquarians for you and we'll ask them questions and see how compatible you are. I will get that show one day. It will happen at some point, I'm sure.
Let's do it. I'm down.
You'll be my little test person for it. I thought about doing it with Xander last year, but we ended up not doing that. So from the first season.
Yeah.
So well, yeah. Yeah, any other questions that you have or anything, I'm here. You can obviously message me anytime you need as well, but if you have more questions, not a problem. I can answer whatever you have.
It's just so interesting. And I feel like it's how I feel, but I've never visually seen it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is literally your particle entanglements with these planets and luminaries and stuff. Because when you were
Wow.
born, you breached, right? No matter how it was, whether you came out naturally or if it's cesarean or any other way, at that moment you ripped particles, right? And so when they separate like that, but they're still part of the same being, they interact instantly with each other. So when you touch this particle here that's attached to a particle way across the country or whatever, so to speak, right? You can touch it and that one will instantly respond to that same touch. That's what your chart is basically. It's your particle entanglements with Jupiter and the sun and that sort of thing. Because that's where they were in the sky when you were born. So it shows us what distance they were. Isn't that
Okay.
interesting?
Wow.
I
So,
don't know
so
astrophysics, but
talk to me a little bit more about Virgos because Ashley and Brittany have the same birthday.
yes,
So,
they're both Virgos, right? But again, that's just their sun sign. In fact, actually, let me pull it up so I can see it because I don't want to do their thing wrong here. Hold on, because I want to see what their other one is. I know that I think Brittany
yeah.
has more Aries. I know she has a Scorpio moon, I think. But okay, Brittany.
But you said that like my 180 from Pisces goes directly to Virgo.
Yes, you're meaning like your North Node was in Pisces.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
exactly 180 degrees would be Virgo. So your South Node, which is your roots, your past life where you've come from. So
Wow.
yeah, that could be. Now they're both Virgos, right? But
Mhm.
Brittany is a Scorpio moon, and I don't know her rising sign because I don't have her birth time. So
Okay.
if you find out for me, you can let me know. I put it in here and figure that out. But um, she has that, and then let me see. Where's Ashley? Oh, there she is. And Ashley is a Virgo sun, a Gemini moon, and a Scorpio is a Virgo sun, a Gemini moon, and a Scorpio rising. No, I don't have Ashley's time either. I don't have Ashley's time either, actually. So I don't know
Okay.
what her rising sign is. So I don't know either of their rising signs. So now you're comparing a Virgo sun, right, to a Scorpio moon, right, which is you. This is your Scorpio area right there, which is your
Yeah.
creativity and pleasure, right? So her feelings, like her emotions, are going to be in your area of pleasure. So, automatically it's kind of a given for her that her emotions can kind of quench your need for that, right? Whereas a Gemini moon, you would think would be more intuitive. But the problem is they're so back and forth, right? Because remember the duality I was telling you about? That
Hmm.
sometimes you feel like you really love that person and then you're like, who are you? It goes back and forth because that's how their emotions are. They're very expressive. They like to externally like walk through things, but sometimes it's too much. Like your partner doesn't also need to be your therapist every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how that can come off. Not to mention that Ashley's no, we don't know a house. We don't know their houses either because we don't have their times. Shoot,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's the main difference. But also they have different Venus and Mars placements. Like Ashley is a Leo Venus, so she needs adoration, right? So if she's not doing something that you're giving her adoration for, she feels like she's a piece of, you know, that's how she feels, and that's where that comes in, and that's probably has to do with her past and traumas of the stuff that she has to work through. That's not your problem. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
So, and she has a Libra Mars, which talk about trying to make decisions. I mean, Libra Mars, that's your top energy. I don't know if I want to talk today or not. That is, okay? So, I mean, that's okay. That's, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just they're back and forth on that particular thing, which could be confusing to somebody like you that wants somebody to be kind of more intuitive about things, right? That is not
Yeah.
necessarily. Whereas, going back to Brittany for a second. um, sorry, do you have to go or anything? Am I keeping you? Are you good on time
No,
and
I'm
stuff?
good.
Oh, okay. I know, folks. It's like how many times can we? Who wants to? Okay, so all right, here we go. Now they both have a Leo Venus, okay, but Brittany also has her Mars in Leo as well. So now she's like, I need adoration in order to surrender, and I will tell you how to give it to me.
Hell yeah.
Like that's basically what she's like. That's a boss of I need adoration, and I will tell you that I need it.
That's my wifey
Um,
right there.
so yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. There was quite a few. Were they the only two Virgos? Yeah, I think so. And then the rest, almost everybody was Taurans on the show. You're the only Pisces. Kyle's a Leo, and Bridget's an Aquarius. Dana's a Gemini. The rest of them are all Taurus, besides these two Virgos and you guys. Isn't that crazy? 4 Taurans, I think, were on the show. So, and how different are all those people? Haley, Megan, Mel, and who else is? AJ. No, AJ's a Libra. AJ's a Libra. My bad. So there's 2 Libras that I missed. There's only 3 Taurans. But those people are so different. So that's what I mean. Like, it's never just about their sun sign.
Yeah.
And in synastry, like these things that I have on right here, when we're doing the synastry, that's what I'm looking at. These are aspects, and this is in your personal birth chart. So it's inside of you, how your different parts of you are getting along. So that's what it tells us. But in synastry, it tells you how your parts are getting along with somebody else's parts, whether they work together or not. So when I'm posting those synastries about you, that's what I'm reading in there. Is those
Gotcha.
aspects. And that's why I spell them out under it, so you can understand what it means to have that aspect for that
That's
person.
so cool. Like
Yeah,
it's
everybody
so
has like
bright,
different
colorful.
shapes and stuff. Yeah, so it's interesting to see the different shapes. Like as an example, even though we don't know all of Brittany's info, she has a grand trine in her chart. And that's a triangle, a green triangle that would be in there. And what that indicates is that she has a secret talent. And because it's in, what is it? It looks like it's in fire, passion. So she's very passionate. She has talent with passion.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So that's that's and for everybody who's been posting your charts and going, hey, Astro Girlies, let me know. This is what that's like. So you can imagine it takes a little bit of time. So if you want actually to know what's going on in your chart, book a reading. It doesn't have to be with me, but with an astrologer. The folks that are giving you info on TikTok, some of them may know what they're talking about, but may not. So, take it with a grain of salt. All right. I'm just trying to tell people because that's really going on, or it's in my feed a lot, maybe because I'm an astrologer. But just in case. I do readings as well. So anybody who's interested in that, go up here to my page and you can click on my link tree. There's several services there. That's also this place where the link for the live with Marita will be. And I have a 7-page PDF breakdown of your chart that you can get. That's $60. And that's just the breakdown of your chart. And then for 100, so if you'd rather do the full reading, you get that PDF and a video chat with me where it's just me and you, and we go over your chart. You can ask me any questions you want. That's $100 total for that. You can break them up, do that, and get the whole reading or whatever you like to do. There's also a couple other ones like Find Your Match, which I should do with you for fun, Marita. We should
Let's
do
do
the
it.
Find Your Match for fun. I DM me your email because we have to do it over email because it's questions that I have to send you, and then we'll go from there. And I'll post it if you want me to, or you can just have it so you know. But what it does, the perfect match, it does. I ask you 5 multiple choice questions. You answer them, and then I send you back your perfect astrological match three of them actually, and the days that they were born.
Not with like
So
names and stuff, right?
no, because it could be anybody that are
Right.
born,
I'm
and
like,
I'm
I
just
don't
giving
want
you
to
one
know. Yeah.
time. Yeah, no, it's no names. It's just what I find from the answers to your questions based upon what your placements are. I can
Okay.
find your match based upon your answers because I have like a little secret formula thing that I use. And so, and find out, and the days that I find out they're born, I usually, it's not the only days that those folks can be born, but it's the closest to your age range or whatever. So that's kind of what I mean by that. So yeah, and so the find your match is a thing too. Also a synastry summary. So if you're in a relationship or you're curious to know your compatibility, even with Marita, right? You want to know what your compatibility is with Marita? You can do one. I happen to have her info, so I can do that. I wouldn't tell you that they don't get to see your info. By the way, Marita, they would just see the chart stuff. Um, but I can do that as well. That's on there. So that's the stuff I'm doing. But we really want to know what Marita is doing now, right? So tell us what's going on now that the show's over. I know it's craziness. You're probably traveling a lot and doing things, but do you have anything you want to shout out or tell people to tune into or
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, a lot is happening in September. I'm really excited about everything going on, but I just moved to LA, so that's a
Woo!
huge, huge new step. It was really hard to leave St. Pete because I love all my friends and like the community I had there, but super excited for this new chapter. I have a lot coming up, some podcasts, some really big travel situations going on, a lot of branding and influencing, as well as music. So,
Ah, yes, because you are a musician. You've been a singer for quite a long time, even when you were
I am
young.
this, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
younger, I should say. You're still quite young. So, um,
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Do you think that you think you might try to get a music career started? Are you interested in that, or are you just kind of doing it for fun right now and just
Yeah, so
whatever
now
happens,
that
kind of
I'm
happens?
finally here and settling, I am starting to like put aside time to like actually pour my energy into that because you can't
Hmm.
just like sit down and write a song. Like it has to come to you and like the idea behind it and the
So
music
you
and
write your own music too?
yes.
Awesome. Now, those are my favorites are singers and songwriters that do it together. That I mean, that's an amazing talent. Everybody has like their things that they're geniuses in,
Yeah.
and then they have stuff that they're not that great at, and it just depends. But yeah,
Well,
that's
so
really cool.
recently, unfortunately, the sidewalks in Florida out like on Central in St. Petersburg. Well, before this happened, there was a queer bar called the Salty Nun, and it was like an older generation lesbian bar.
Mm,
And it ended up closing a week before they were supposed to paint the streets back to black from like
mm.
a rainbow crosswalk. So I got up there with a friend and sang Dear Mr. President, but then we rewrote some of the lyrics to be about the sidewalk. And that was like really, really powerful and emotional for a lot of people.
Mm.
So I'm hoping today, if I have the time, to like actually record that and make a video about it because it just happened and it's really heartbreaking to see. Like you could see the parade, or not, it's not a parade anymore, the revolt, I guess, or the revolt, I guess, against the people that are painting over our sidewalks because St. Pete came with so much color. There was chalk everywhere. There were people like raising their flags, and it's just like all about community and trying to stand up for who we are. And the
Mm.
next day, 3 a.m., those sidewalks were painted black, and it's just crazy to even see something like that happen. Like they're literally trying to drain the color out of our lives and erase
Yeah.
us from history. And I know my community in St. Pete, I know that they're not happy with it, but I would love to be a part of that platform to really share our story and try to make an impact because
Hmm.
hopefully this turns around because it's not looking good.
Yeah, that's nuts. And I've seen that's happening other places too. People are trying to go back and chalk, and like all sorts of stuff. It's been crazy. By the way, those who don't know the song "Dear Mr." or "Mr. President," it's by Pink and the Indigo Girls. It was actually when W was in office, George W, and he was not very nice to gay people back then either. Not that Pink is gay, but she's an ally, obviously. Um, and so, and I was actually talking to my girlfriend about this. We were listening to it. She's a little bit younger too than me. I'm old. I'm pretty old. So I played the song for her and she listened. She was like, "Holy crap!" And I'm like, "I
Yeah.
know. They got to redo one. They got to redo it for this one." And then you were just saying that you changed some of the lyrics to kind of fit that thing. I wish more people would do that. Like, just I feel like sometimes when you're singing it, people can hear it better. That's all. It's they have a chance to tune in and listen. It's not just a protest that you're watching people yell. It's somebody that has a poetic thing to say, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
really cool. Well, I hope that yeah. I mean, let's all hope for better things. There was a double rainbow the other day here. I'm in Arizona actually. Double rainbow the other day, and I had to run inside, check my phone, and see if it happened. But it wasn't. It didn't happen yet. But at some point, we will get better. We won't be under the same administration dealing with the same kind of thing. So
Right.
hopefully we just stick
And
together.
it's
We just gotta look out
everything.
for each other and
Yeah.
stop hating on our own alphabet brothers and sisters and thems for that matter. Don't like we all gotta stick together. So
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
Well, look, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on here. It was
Yeah.
really fun. And so yeah, make sure you all are following Marita if you not already on here and on Instagram. And then do you have like a music platform that you have music on?
On Spotify, Apple
Okay.
Music, and all the places that you could find music, just look up Marita. And there's a song out there called Broke Me by Marita and Ill Will. But hopefully, we have some more stuff coming soon because
Okay.
it's time.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. That should be really cool. So yeah, thank you and thank all of you for being here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you guys, so I appreciate that. Marita, have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you again for coming. Until next time, everybody. Cheers. See ya. Bye.
Bye.